We talk a lot about AI models, about data, but what if I told you the real race, the war, isn't digital anymore? It's physical. It's about infrastructure. And we just lived through the 1 week where that shift became undeniable. Let's break it down. This quote from tech writer Aaron Rose it nails it. For so long, we've talked about the compute race like it's this abstract thing happening in the cloud, but not anymore. This was the week it became about things you can literally touch: silicone, concrete, actual power plants. It really did become a construction project. So yeah, the race for who leads in AI, it's not just about who has the cleverest code anymore. It's about who owns the physical world. We're going to walk through day by day this one incredible week in April of 2026 that basically redrew the entire map. And believe me, the week kicked off with a huge bang. It's like everyone decided at once that running AI on generic chips was old news. The game shifted, like overnight, to custom-built specialized hardware. This was it. The war for the physical layer of AI was officially on. So Monday rolls around and OpenAI fires the first major shot. They double down on their deal with Cerebras. These guys make monster AI chips to the tune of $20 billion. But here's the really interesting part. It's not just about raw horsepower. The goal they set, 3,000 tokens a second for inference. That's the speed the AI spits out an answer. We're talking about getting almost instantaneous responses from even their biggest, most complex models. And at the same time all this hardware and money is flying around, there's this very human drama happening in the background. A handwritten diary entry from Greg Brockman at OpenAI suddenly becomes a key piece of evidence in the whole Musk vs. OpenAI lawsuit. It's just a wild reminder that behind all these corporate chess moves, there are real people, personal histories, and some seriously high-stakes rivalries.
Okay, so that was Monday. Let's get to Tuesday. Because if Monday was the opening shot, Tuesday was when things just went nuclear, financially speaking. The scale of investment we're about to see is just mind-blowing.
Anthropic, who's one of OpenAI's biggest rivals, makes their move, and it is a monster move. A $100 billion commitment to Amazon's cloud, AWS, spread out over 10 years. And look, this isn't just them renting some servers. This is a massive strategic alliance. It's a huge signal that the entire future of AI is going to be built on the backs of these cloud giants. So what does $100 billion get you? Well, for one, 5 gigawatts of compute power. To give you a sense of what that means, that's enough juice to power a small city. This deal basically locks Anthropic into the AWS ecosystem for their entire future, all the way out to 2036. They're all in. But it wasn't just a war for compute power. The battleground started popping up everywhere. Suddenly, it was also about how to make money and who's in control. OpenAI, for instance, opened up a new front by putting ads right into ChatGPT. And at the same time, Anthropic opened up a whole different front on security and identity, starting to ask some of its users for photo IDs. The conflict was spreading. By the middle of the week, this thing had gone completely global. But as the war expanded, it started to have a real, tangible human cost. And the people feeling it first? The ones working right inside the tech industry. Okay, so over in the East, something huge started to take shape. People are calling it a sovereign stack. And the goal is pretty simple and pretty ambitious. Build a top-tier AI ecosystem from the ground up that is totally 100% independent of US technology. We're talking about ditching the hardware and software that pretty much runs the whole show right now. And here's how they're doing it. It's basically a 3-step plan. Step 1, you build a really powerful AI brain, the DeepSeek V4 model. Step 2, you run that model on your own custom-built hardware, in this case from Huawei. And then here's the kicker. The final crucial piece. You build your own software layer so you can completely bypass NVIDIA's CUDA. That's the move that lets you break free from the platform that everyone else depends on. Meanwhile, back in the US, this kind of brutal new term starts making the rounds, the CapEx human swap. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the cold, hard math of cutting operational costs, which, let's be honest, mostly means people's jobs, to free up money for capital expenses. The billions and billions you need to build these giant new AI data centers. And this wasn't just some business school theory. We were watching it happen in real time. Meta laid off 8,000 people. That's a tenth of their entire workforce to help pay for their new 1 gigawatt AI facility they're calling Prometheus. And right around the same time, Microsoft started offering voluntary buyouts, which is something they've never done before. The trade-off couldn't have been more clear. Jobs for infrastructure. And to put that into perspective, this wasn't just a blip. These cuts were part of a much bigger wave.
By this point in the year, more than 96,000 tech workers had lost their jobs. These aren't just abstract numbers on a chart. These are real people, the first economic casualties of this new infrastructure war. All right, so let's fast forward to the end of the week, to Friday. This is where all the pieces really start to click into place. Friday was just packed with these game-changing moments that pretty much cemented this new reality and totally shook up the entire competitive landscape. First up, China's DeepSeek V4 model officially ships. And just like that, this idea of sovereign parity, the theory that a country could build its own AI stock that's just as good as the best stuff from the West, stopped being a theory. It was a fact, proven by actual benchmark results. And here's why that's such a big deal. The Pro version of DeepSeek V4 hit performance levels on coding tests that were basically identical to Anthropic's best model, Claude Opus 4.6. But here's the jaw-dropper. It did it for 7 times less money per million tokens. I mean, that just changes the entire economic equation for AI, literally overnight. Of course, the market went wild. Elon Musk comes out and confirms that Tesla is going to be the first big customer for Intel's brand new chips. Intel stock just skyrockets. But that one move did more than just help Intel. It validated the entire AI hardware sector. And that created this huge ripple effect that sent the valuation of the biggest player in the game, NVIDIA, to a place no one had ever seen before. And here's the number. $5.08 trillion. NVIDIA became the first company in history to hit that valuation. That's bigger than the entire economy of most countries on Earth. If you ever needed a sign that the real value right now is being created in the physical layer of AI, well, this is it. Case closed. So where does that leave us? What does all of this actually mean? I mean, in just 1 week, the world kind of got remade. This infrastructure war, it isn't just a story about a few tech companies. The fallout from this is going to affect, well, pretty much everyone. So let's just do a super quick review. You had OpenAI and Anthropic betting the farm on hardware. You had China proving it could build its own world-class AI totally independently. You had big tech companies literally trading people for server racks. And through it all, the stock market placed an almost unimaginable value on the companies actually building the physical stuff, the foundation. And then, just to cap it all off, we get a final twist. At the exact moment that this CAPEX human swap becomes a real measurable thing, who pops up with a proposed solution? Elon Musk, a guy right in the middle of this whole war. His idea? Universal high income paid for by the massive productivity gains from AI. And that really is the ultimate question, isn't it? What this whole week proved is that the AI productivity surplus isn't some sci-fi concept anymore. It's not in the future. It's here. It's being generated right now as this new infrastructure gets built. So the big question we all have to face is, who gets to claim it?